Okay, Latin 2, following on with the lesson that I gave you about clauses, we are going to now continue our story with some new Latin, which happens to have some clauses worth talking about. And so we've got on your PDF, you've got basically just 3 sentences. I'd like you to attempt your own translation of them using the supplied vocabulary, and then I'd like you to watch this video, in particular focusing on the issue of how to identify clauses. And so, cum cogidubnus tristis iratusque e villa memoris exisset, salvius quinquaginta milites arcesivit. So, remember, here's what's just happened. Salvius tried to poison Cogidubnus to death. He got Memor to task his freedman Cephalus with having this secret poison cup delivered to Cogidubnus. Quintus saved the day by recognizing the cup, and then they made Cephalus drink the cup. Cephalus had arranged, as we had read 2 weeks ago, for a letter to be delivered to Cogidubnus telling him the whole truth. So, Cogidubnus is understandably tristis iratusque. But now, let's focus on some issues related to clauses. Step 1, read the whole sentence. Okay, so I just read the whole sentence, and what I want you to start doing when we have these much more complicated sentences, I want you to really pay attention to commas, because commas are the way that we know a sentence has different clauses. Pause on the comma. Reflect on the fact that one thought is now either going to be interrupted by a clause or surrender to a new thought. Here's an example in English. John, comma, surprised by the amount of snow. Now, if you were to read just that much, John, comma, surprised by the amount of snow, you know as an English speaker that this sentence hasn't even gotten started yet, okay? Surprised by the amount of snow is obviously like a thought about John, but it's not the main sentence. So, again, use your knowledge of English first, and we're going to be trying to apply that back to our knowledge of Latin. John, comma, surprised by the amount of snow, comma, put on his boots, gloves, and coat. Now, if we were to put a period right here, this actually could be a grammatical sentence, right? John, surprised by the amount of snow, put on his boots, gloves, and coat. But there is no period here. In order to shovel the driveway, comma, which was covered by 5 inches, presumably of snow. And so, as a native speaker, you instinctively know that surprised by the amount of snow is not the main sentence. You also instinctively know that which was covered by 5 inches is not the main sentence. This clause just simply tells us more about John. This clause tells us more about the driveway. So, back to our sentence. Cum cogidubnus tristis iratusque e villa memoris exisset, comma, salvius quinquaginta milites arcesivit. Now, we begin translating. We can go ahead and start with the first word. Now, sometimes we know that the first word, like if it's an accusative or something, it's not going to be our subject, but let's go ahead and start with the first word, but we always have to get ready to run to our main verb. The word cum, as we just reviewed last week when we reviewed subjunctive, the word cum means with when it's followed by an ablative, and it means when most of the time if it's followed by anything else. Cum cogidubnus. Look, people, that's not an ablative, and so it must mean when. When cogidubnus. Now, run to your verb. Where's your verb? Your verb is going to be before the end of the clause. And that's why this comma is so important. This comma means that the verb we're running to is right here, okay? Now there's another verb down here, but we don't want to run down there because that verb is going to pertain to this clause. This verb pertains to cogidubnus. When cogidubnus had gone out, exeisset. Again, we talked about this. This was a question in the Socrative, that isse ending is the pluperfect subjunctive. When cogidubnus had gone out, sad and angry. Now we can go ahead and fit in tristis iratusque. He's sad because he knows that people he thought he could trust just tried to kill him. I guess he's angry for exactly the same reason. When he had gone out a villa from the house memoris of memor, comma. Now, sometimes a clause is going to have the same subject continue, but look at here, salvius, that's nominative. In other words, the next clause is going to basically be a new sentence. Start the steps again. We're going to take our subject and we're going to run to our verb. Salvius summoned. What did he summon? Quinquaginta milites, 50 soldiers. Next sentence. So again, we're going to use the same methodology. I always urge you to read the whole sentence through. Keep in mind, sometimes there isn't going to be a complex system of clauses. Eius iusit regem principesque regnentium comprehendere et in carcere retinere. Eius, them, okay? I want you to know the word eios as a vocab item that means them. If I were to start a sentence in English and I said, them, okay, you'd be confused. You'd be like, what's he doing here? Them can't start a sentence. Well, them can start a sentence in Latin. It's just that you don't want it to be your subject. Eios iusit. He ordered them. Now, the verb iusit, he ordered, it's going to have an initial object, and it's the object that is being ordered. And then we're going to have an infinitive, the thing they're being ordered to do. And then we might have another object of the infinitive. And that's what's happening here. He ordered them comprehendere. Now, obviously, the English word to comprehend is derived from this, but the Latin word means to seize. He ordered them to seize. And again, look here. He ordered them kings and chiefs of the regnencies. If you were to translate this line straight, you'd say, well, that makes no sense. And the fact is, it makes no sense in English, but that's because in Latin, you want to bring the infinitive in before these objects. He ordered them to seize the kings and chiefs of the regnencies. Okay, and the word to comprehend, it means to seize a thought, means to comprehend something. And here's the other thing he ordered them to do, to keep them in prison. Next sentence. He milites totum per oppidum misi, mox regem cum principibus invenerunt. Guess what, people? Here's where our study of clauses is going to come back into play. We have two commas, and we're going to use them to our advantage. He milites, these soldiers, comma, okay? And the fact that we have two commas tells us what's happening between these two commas. Remember when we studied our clauses in the video about clauses? What happens between these two commas is not the main sentence. Mitto mittere misi missus. Look at that. The double S there, this is the past participle, sent, having been sent. These soldiers, having been sent, where were they sent? Totum per oppidum. Remember, when you have a preposition with a noun and an adjective, the normal word order is adjective, preposition, noun. And so, magna cum laude, with great praise, totum per oppidum, through the whole town, having been sent through the whole town. What did they do? Mox, soon. Soon the king. But we don't want to bring regem in now. Regem is an accusative. It's the object of the verb. So instead of translating soon the whole king, soon found the king. Again, remember, run to your verb. Soon found the king, cum principibus, with the chieftains.